Hi friends, I'm Rachel Gregg, and in today's video I'll be sharing how I'm going to be setting up a Traveller's Notebook as a December daily journal. I'm using a Traveller's Notebook insert by Echo Park Paper. You could see there as I was flipping through my cover there that I had quite a few different Christmas themed ones. This has got lots of little baubles and stuff on the front cover with all these white pages on the inside. So I've counted the pages. There's actually enough to do the complete 31 days of December, including this cover page. And I'll be using lots of Darkroom Door stamps and various other things throughout, but I just want to show you how I'm going to be setting it up. So to start with, I just want to do a date, so to make 2020. So I'm using the big numbers stamp set from Darkroom Door, and I'm just seeing here if the 2020 is actually going to fit. So I was just sort of, making sure that that would fit across that page, and it just does, which is pretty cool. So that's nice. I'm just testing those twos just to make sure that those stamps don't have any other colour on them, because sometimes I don't clean my stamps in between using them. So I was just making sure that when I was stamping that red, that it would actually still be red. So I just stamped it off onto another sheet of paper just to test it. So I'm using the Vermilion archival ink pad from Ranger and just stamping that 2020 out on that the beginning page of the journal. Now what I'm doing is I want to actually do December daily above that 2020, and there's two stamp sets here from Darkroom Door that actually have the same font used in them. So the first one is calendar. Now that has all the months, like those stamps, separate months, so I can use that. So you can see I'm just stamping December, and I'm stamping that out in the jet black archival ink. And in that other stamp set, it's called Everyday Life, and it's got different words in it. And the stamp that I'm using now actually says Daily Life, but I only want the daily. So I put that post-it note over the life when I was inking it up, and then you just take away that post-it note because there's going to be no ink on that life word, and then it just stamps out daily. So now I have my December daily stamped out above my 2020, and I'm just using a little thin Sharpie here just to go around that, just to give it a bit of a boxed look. And now my little title page is done for now. That's all I'm doing for that. But I may still continue to decorate it throughout December. So what I need to do now is just set up my pages. So I just want to create the dates and the days. So I'm using the diary dates stamp set, which also includes all the months, like, January through to December. It also has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the weekdays and weekends as well. And it has numbers and various other bits and pieces. So I'll be using that to date my pages. But what I'm using right now is the Watery Washes stamp set, which can go underneath the little date. So I'm just testing the Tuesday. That's the first day of December this year. So I'm just testing to make sure that that fits inside there and it all looks good. So with the Watery Washes, I'm just using that leaf green archival ink pad, and I'm just adding a couple of extra little watery washes just around just to see how that's going to look. And I really like how that's going to look. So I've decided now that I'm going to use a couple of different inks for the washes. So I'm going to keep it fairly consistent throughout the book. So I'm going to use that same watery wash throughout the book using the leaf green, the Vermilion, which is the red ink pad, and then also that shadow grey ink pad, which you can see off to the right hand side there of the screen. So to stamp the leaf green, if you see there, see how I'm stamping it off on the left, just that scratch pad, and then stamping it into my book? Because if I stamp it directly into my book, I found that it was a little bit dark for my liking. I just wanted it to be a really subtle, like a underwash, So I just want it to be a subtle colour so I could easily put the date over the top. And you'll see that I'm doing one every couple of pages. So because I'm using the three different ink colours and I want it to alternate between the leaf green, and then I'll go to the shadow grey, and then I'll go to the Vermilion. So I'm just like flipping 3 pages ahead and then stamping that green again. So I continually ink up the stamp it off onto that scratch page, and then stamping it into my book. So I've finished all the green ones now, and now I'm going to move on to the shadow grey. And that first little stamping, it kind of turned out a little bit green. It meant that I didn't really clean off that stamp very well. But now you can see here how that's stamping grey. So I just cleaned it before I continued on. So yeah, just make sure you clean your stamps in between. I only just cleaned it just, with some stamp cleaner and just a little cloth, and that's usually enough there to get that stamp nice and clean to move on to the next ink colour. So this Shadow Grey is a really nice one because it'll just bring that neutral kind of feel to the book, and I don't need to stamp this one off because it's already light enough. So I don't need to use that scratch pad to stamp off first before I go directly into my book. And you may be noticing, see how you can't quite see it until I move the page there. Yeah, see on the top left there how you can see some of the stamping showing through the pages. These pages are quite thin in this little traveler's notebook, but I'm not really concerned because what I'm doing in this book is I will be decorating those left-hand pages with photos and tags and everything, so that stamping that's showing through is not going to be a problem because most of those pages, or if not all of that page on the left hand side, will be completely covered, whether it's with pattern paper or tags or photos or whatever else I use throughout the month. So who knows what I'm going to do there, but I'll show you at the end of the video some things that I've collected that I intend to use. So there we go. You can see all my book now has been stamped with the red and the grey and the green. So I've got all my washes done. It's really easy just to do that up front because then you're set then for the rest of the month. And this is why if you spend some time doing some prep, it really does save you for the rest of the month, because December does get a little bit crazy in terms of time and things going on and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get as much ready as I can before we start in December. So what I'm doing now is I'm using the diary dates, and I'm just choosing, one day. Right now I'm doing Wednesday, and rather than pulling it off and doing like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and changing my stamp every second or every page, I'm doing all of the Wednesdays. So, and now I'm doing all the Thursdays. But the issue with that is you've got to make sure that you are doing them correctly and you haven't missed a page. So when I first started, I really made sure that I counted the 7 and I didn't miss or skip or make a mistake or something like that. So if you are going to do that, just make sure that you are double checking when you do that first, flicking through or counting those pages before you stamp your dates. So I'm just going to continue this on now and stamp my Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Right now I'm up to Fridays, so I'm just finding my Thursday pages and then stamping Friday directly after it. And after, what I'll do now is I'm kind of leaving the dates, like I'm putting the days in so I know what day it is, but the actual numbers, I've only numbered the first page, which was number 1, the 1st of December, but I'm leaving the rest because I've got some other things in my stash. I may not want to use those number stamps all the time. I may pull out that diary date stamp set throughout the month and use it, but I know that I do have some other number things and I've got some other number stamps, and so I may just mix it up just to keep the book just to add some more interest on the right hand side of those pages. So I'll just see how I go with every day, but at least I've got the base thing here just with those dates, so that's really cool. All right, so I'm just flicking through that, making sure that I have got it all done and I haven't missed a page. I'm pretty happy with how that's all worked out. What I want to do now is just show you here how I've got a little a pencil case here full of Christmas stuff. So this is all just stamped pieces and little ephemera pieces, things that I've kind of collected or haven't used over the years, but I might have been working on. So I'm collecting all my bits and pieces now together, or keeping that pencil case handy with all those stamped bits, and I'll use that throughout the month. Here's what I've also done is collected all my random green and red projects. These are some marbling sheets that I've worked on. There's pattern papers, there's gel prints, there's mesh, all sorts of stuff. And now here's another little pack of Christmas things that I've not used, little envelopes, anything red and green, because I'm kind of keeping with the red and green theme for this particular journal, just to keep it all nice and easy. I'll probably add a little bit of silver and a bit of gold who knows what I'll be doing, but I'm just collecting all that together. That's one of the things that'll make this project a lot easier, is if you do have everything in one spot and pre-plan, or just, have all that ready to go. So in a little bucket, or whether it's a tray, a basket, whatever you have. So I'm just deciding to start to put some background pages, only on a couple of pages here to start with, just to show you what I mean about covering up that left page with a complete pattern. And this is some marbling paper that I created. I don't even know when I created this. It would have been a long time ago. Because the colours work really well, that, like the red, it's very Christmassy. I obviously did lots of Christmas marbling, and I just thought that looks really nice there to cover that entire page. And now you can see how I have just put in a couple of pages of that marbling. I've got some green and red and some other just plain red ones. And I've left all the other pages free because I'll just continue to add to that throughout the month of December. But I'll share as much as I can here through the month. I've got some tags here. You can see how the tags fit there. And that little piece of paper, that's a same size as the 6x4 inch photos. So that just shows me how some photos can be incorporated into the book. And I've got some little postage stamps that I may use, some little numbers that I may put in, and also the washi. I've put some black and some red and some green washi all together. So I've got everything ready to go for December. So if you'd like to follow along with me what I'm doing, be sure to subscribe, and I will continue to share my little journal as I go. Thanks so much for watching.